Hello, Wheelgun Dan here, wheelgundan.com. Today I want to talk to you about weapons of war. So this is like a new buzzword that's been going on the internet a little bit for a little while now. I've heard the past president refer to weapons of war. It's a buzzword essentially that's been invented to try and continue to make the AR-15 style rifle sound like a rifle that's much more powerful, much more dangerous than it actually is. Rifles are rifles, pretty much. So the Second Amendment doesn't make any distinction between the different kinds of rifles or the action that they use or anything like that. So with regard to weapons of war, let's talk about what the heck is a weapon of war in the context of the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms. So basically, there's a lot of different kind of firearms, and all the different kinds of firearms that there are, they have different purposes for the different types of situations that you might find yourself in. So every customer, and the United States military is a customer of the firearms industry, just as much as you or me, anyone who wishes to exercise their right to keep and bear arms. When you're going to buy a gun, you need to evaluate, well, what kind of potential threat might I be faced with, and then you choose the appropriate firearm for that. So a handgun, for instance, as I've mentioned perhaps in one of my other videos, a handgun is for personal self-defense at close range. That's what they do. It's basically designed for one target that is attacking you and that you need to utilize lethal force against that target. So this is a one-take video here. I apologize if the breeze kicks up and all of a sudden you're having difficulty with hearing me. Pardon me. So when a customer decides on a particular firearm, they decide what is the right firearm to address the threat. A rifle is the kind of a weapon that you would use if you need to defend yourself against multiple targets. So the United States military, being a customer of the firearms industry, they will look at all the different types of firearms that are available and assess what's the right kind of firearm for the kind of things that they're going to engage in. So now war, it's a very, very, very vague term. For instance, what's the difference if a soldier has been ordered by the president to go somewhere and engage a hostile target against the United States and shoot at that target? What's the difference between that and if you personally, your family, is being attacked by multiple targets? For instance, let's say we are in Arizona and you live on a ranch. There's no 911 out here. In some places there's not even a cell phone service, and your ranch all of a sudden has a pack of coyotes that are attacking your dog or your family or somebody important to you. You know, multiple targets. Let's say you're in Georgia in a particular time in United States history where there's massive civil unrest, and all of the police in that particular jurisdiction decide they're way outnumbered. They can't possibly control that, so they go and they hide in the police station. Or what about a situation where you're in New Orleans in the United States and there's a major catastrophic event and there's, you know, complete disorder, okay? Complete civil disorder, and again the police are watching out for themselves and not trying to protect people. Now keep in mind, I'm not trying to be hard on the police. There's one police officer for every 35,000 citizens. So do the math. If certain circumstances present themselves, you could find that the police can't possibly help you. And not only that, the police are not required to protect you in an individualized sense. If you would like further information on that, get the book Dial 911 and Die. A lot of information that covers that. So, back to the topic at hand. What's the difference between being in the military, firing at targets that are hostile to the United States, or you're a Korean store owner, you're in California, United States, and your family depends on your store and your livelihood, the ability to feed your children and everything relies on that store. You live above the store in an apartment, and below the store is everything you own in this entire world. Okay, your life, your livelihood, everything depends on that store. But there's a massive civil unrest event, and there are looters by the hundreds that are pouring through the streets, breaking stuff, stealing stuff. That store needs to be protected. Now, in each of these cases, what's the difference between the hostile threat that is attacking you, your livelihood, your life? What's the difference? Okay, it's a legitimate need in each case for an individual to be able to defend against multiple hostile targets, and preferably at a distance, because if you've got a dangerous situation, you'd rather engage and neutralize that threat when it's far away rather than let it get up close to you. A handgun is only good for close distances with one attacker, basically. That's basically all it's designed to do. It's a close range weapon. It's not generally as powerful as a rifle, and it's a last case scenario, self-defense kind of a weapon. That's what it's for. A rifle, however, is for engaging multiple hostile targets. So when they talk about weapon of war, what's the difference between the United States military and you personally? There is no difference. War is just a buzzword that they use in the liberal media to describe the AR-15 style rifle. Okay, let me tell you something else about weapons of war here. The United States Army, many years ago, maybe the Marine Corps, the United States military, let's go there. The United States military, long ago, they had a weapon called the M1 Garand. Big, heavy weapon. Over the course of time, as I mentioned in another video, these weapons, they needed to get lighter and lighter and lighter because it's heavy for soldiers to carry, it's heavy for the bullets, it's heavy. So they got down to the lightest weapon they can find. There's nothing different fundamentally about an AR-15 style rifle than there is about any other modern rifle. So if you try to ban the AR-15 style rifle, for instance, you're essentially banning all rifles because everything else is more powerful than that. Okay, so again, I'd be very cautious anytime I hear anybody in the media talk about assault rifle, there's a buzzword, or weapons of war. President Obama said he wanted to get weapons of war off our streets. Well, that's just wonderful, isn't it? Okay, if you take the war off the streets, you won't need weapons of war on the streets. Okay, how about that, Mr. Obama? So anyways, war is not a definitive term, whatever. So, weapons of war, this is just as valid of a product that you would need to buy as the United States Army would need to buy. It's a product designed for the need that you need it to do. So anyways, let's go ahead and have a demonstration, shall we, of a rifle engaging multiple targets. I've given you some different examples. And listen, if you know what the future is, you know whether or not you're going to be attacked and by how many you are going to be attacked by and everything, then great. Don't buy any guns and wait until that moment, then buy some guns, practice with them, get to learn how to use them and stuff, and then once you've neutralized that target, you can go and sell all your guns. I don't know how many attackers I'm going to be attacked with in the future living in the wilderness. You in your house, you never know when there's going to be a massive civil unrest. You only need a firearm one time to save your life in order for your life to be saved and you to live an entire life. Maybe you only need it one time. But we have to have the right to keep and bear arms in order for that future event that may or may not ever occur. And even if you never need one, there's probably someone else out there who will need one, someone's family who will need one to be preserved. And then there's also the whole initial concept of the Second Amendment, which has to do with the whole psychological pivot here. If the government knows that there are not, you know, I'm just going to make up a number. I heard a number on the internet, so it must be true. There's 93 million gun owners out here in the United States of America. Okay, let's say there's 1.1 million soldiers in the United States Army, and that's a little more accurate of an assessment there. If the government knows that the citizens outnumber them with these kind of rifles by 100 to 1 essentially, it is supposed to help them, you know, be more honest. It's supposed to deter tyranny so that you don't get a dictator running the country and everything. But that's probably a subject for another video. Let's go ahead and have an entertaining presentation on one rifle defending against multiple targets. See how long it takes me to do this too. How about a nice Hawaiian punch? Good example of what can happen in a real life situation. You could have a weapon malfunction. I have no idea what happened, but I handled it and I continue to engage the target. And that's another reason why a 30-round magazine comes in real handy. I didn't plan that. So anyways, that's my demonstration for how one person with a rifle can defend against multiple targets all at once. When you're in a crisis situation similar to the ones that I've described, it can come in really handy. So I'm Wheelgun Dan. Visit wheelgundan.com. You know the deal. Like and subscribe to the videos and get notifications, all that kind of stuff. And last word, in case you're wondering, yes, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to pick up all my trash and I'm going to take it with me. I can't tell you how many times I've seen trash left out in the wilderness. If you're a gun owner and you like to go outside into the great outdoors and blast defenseless garbage, please take your trash with you. Don't shoot glass bottles. You can't pick that up. It's ridiculous. If you're going to shoot stuff, pick up your trash and take it with you, okay? Don't give the rest of the gun owners a bad name by littering up, you know, the beautiful scenery and everything, okay? Thanks for watching. Wheelgun Dan, wheelgundan.com. Appreciate it. And now for some bonus footage. Do you remember when South Park first came out? Episode 2. It had, you know, the two characters, the uncle and the Vietnam veteran guy. They were going to teach the kids how to go hunting. And they to each of the kids, they go, here's your gun. And they handed everybody a gun. They go, here's your beer. Funniest thing ever. Now, I don't know how many years it's been. So anyways, very important to yell, they're coming right at me, before you engage targets. So, bonus footage, just for entertainment purposes only. They're coming right at me. There you go. Wheelgun Dan, wheelgundan.com. Howdy, I'm Wheelgun Dan. Welcome to my collection of videos. In this collection of videos, I'm going to talk about America, guns, and freedom. So welcome. Feel free to peruse the collection of videos. Should be a thing around here someplace to click like, subscribe, notifications. So enjoy yourself. What kind of bug is that over there? Okay, feel free to peruse the video collection anytime now.